Hello. I'm just trying to salvage some of the string from this ad hoc support system that I tried to make for my broad beans a few weeks ago that clearly didn't work because they've all fallen over. But today is going to be a big day of some plot maintenance really, because I've had a week away in Scotland and everything's shut up and lots of things have fallen down as well, so I need to get the string out and put some supports in. And I think at the end of the afternoon as well I'm going to do a little harvest, because I've seen quite a few little red jewels about the plot. So I've got some berries to harvest and probably some lettuces as well. Lots of herbs for drying, so we'll see what we can find in a little bit. I had a really lovely holiday in Scotland. We went to the Cairgorms, and the Cairgorms is the UK's largest national park. It's like 4,500 square kilometres, I think, so it's absolutely massive. And we did a big drive all the way around. It's called the Snow Road, or the Slow Road. I think it's called the Snow Road, and it just goes all the way around the Cairgorms, and it was absolutely beautiful. We went in a camper van and did some wild camping, and it was just really, really lovely. So there's quite a few jobs to do on the plot today. The first thing really is getting rid of these broad beans, because they have finished fruit and now they've served their time. I've had quite a few harvests out of them, and they're looking very, very straggly now after the big winds that we've had. So I'm going to harvest the last of the beans and get rid of them and plant something else in this bed. They're getting pretty big now, probably slightly past it almost, but they'll still be good. I also like to make broad bean flour as well, and that's really cool for lots of different things really. Fritters, falafels, things like that, really nice. See, the plants had fallen over and it meant that the mice could get to them. This one's been proper chomped. Been overtaken by little insects inside there as well. I think I might leave these ones for the wildlife. These are a Carmesin broad bean, and they're a beautiful pink shade. Really, really nice. Right, that is the last lot from these two beds. I'm going to get all these plants cut down to the base now, leave the roots in because they'll provide nitrogen back into the soil, and then get this hoed down, tidied up, and then onto the next lot of beds for broad beans. Right, well these two beds are pretty much done now. All the broad beans removed, all the weeds have been hoed, and I've just kind of left them on top of the soil, and they'll dry out in the sun over the next day or so. And then next up is this patch of broad beans here. So I think I'm going to get rid of these ones as well and give myself another bed down here. My little aphid killers now are morphing into ladybirds. How pretty is that? Quite hefty broad beans, these ones. See all these little balls, these little nodes at the end of some of these roots here? These are the little nitrogen capsules. And it's these little things that will help feed back into the soil. So it's really great to leave these roots in the soil wherever you can. Just kind of chop them off at the base, or if you accidentally dig them up, just poke them back in, and they'll release that nitrogen that they've gathered from the air, taken down to the roots, and they'll put them back into the soil for us. Right, so that's the last broad bean bed done, and I've got quite a nice hefty amount of broad beans here, and I've also found a nice little garlic head under there as well that I must have missed when I was harvesting somehow, but that looks like quite a good size, and I'm pretty stoked with it because a lot of my garlic this year didn't split for some reason, so I'm not quite sure why that one did and the rest of them didn't, but I'm not complaining. That will go nicely in my dinner later. Come on. I think they've missed me. Next job on my list is to sort out my mum's border, and this is such a lovely little flower bed that's extended itself over the years. It started out as a little corner bed here and it's slowly grown to the end of my shed here, and I really love it, but it's starting to get a little bit straggly. I need to deadhead a lot of these lupins, and I'm going to cut back a lot of this oxeye daisy as well because it absolutely takes over, and I know there's some beautiful plants underneath here that just need a little bit of encouragement to come out again. It's a bit cumbersome with these, isn't it? I can't find my little snips. So I'm just chopping it all off with my little tree loppers. Chopping all these back just might encourage another flush a bit later on in summer. So we'll see if that does work. It would be nice to have some more of these flowers because these lupins do make quite a scene here. They look beautiful. A lot of this oxeye daisy I don't want anymore, so this is all getting chopped back as well. Just chop some of these dying leaves off as well and neaten it all up back here to make a little bit more airflow around the base of the plant, and that will just hold off any powdery mildew that is bound to come over these plants soon enough. It will just hold it off that little bit longer. Look at me pulling out weeds with my right hand. I've had 2 physio sessions now. The last one was this morning, and my gosh, does it hurt. It hurts so much. What I've got is capsulitis, and that is the capsule between my joint is badly strained. But what he's trying to do is manipulate the scar tissue and break it all up, because I'm getting scar tissue forming, which is preventing my hand from being able to move properly, which is why I'm having such trouble pulling out weeds and making a grip and like stretching my hand. And he has to kind of manipulate the scar tissue and try and break it all up, and he does that by pressing really hardly and moving my fingers in all sorts of different directions, and it is really painful. So then after that I have ultrasound, which is like a little metal vibrating pad that he kind of puts over my hand, and that is really painful as well. It starts out quite mellow and then it builds up and it really hurts. It just kind of feels like somebody is putting loads of pressure on my hand with like a rock, and it's quite hot as well. But after that I have a laser treatment for about 10 minutes, and then after that is electromagnetic therapy, and neither of those hurt. It's just the manipulation and the ultrasound that really hurts. I'm really glad actually that I decided to go straight to the physio rather than the doctors, because I don't think I would have gotten the treatment that I'm getting at the physio on the NHS. It was quite expensive. It was 180 quid for 3 sessions. But I think it's definitely worth investing in your body, especially something as important as your hands when you're a gardener. So over here I've got lots of old forget-me-nots that need to come out because these harbour powdery mildew quite badly. There's a little cat attached to this. I just found a little cat. This was from my mum's garden. Lots of the ornaments in this bed were from her front garden. I really love them. Alright, I think that's looking a lot tidier. There is quite a lot of room back here now to plant some new flowers, which is lovely because I've got lots of bluey, purpley China asters. Yeah, lots of lovely St. Johns Wort that I'm going to harvest, and the lupins have been deadheaded as well, so they're looking a lot tidier. These foxgloves should probably be staked, but I'm not going to bother because they've only got a few flowers at the top, so once the bees are done with those, I'm just going to be chopping those stems right back. So this cheerful yellow plant that I'm harvesting here is St. Johns Wort, and it's most commonly known for its use in depression, and it's actually so strong that you shouldn't use St. Johns Wort in conjunction with any other depression medicines. But I mostly use St. Johns Wort for using around menstruation. It's really, really good at soothing cramps and breast tenderness and just helping to relieve some of those bad moods as well. It's a really, really great plant for that, and it's also really good to use as a facial oil and facial toner. So you can just top off the flowers and the leaves and then pop them in some oil and then let that infuse for a little while and then use that as kind of like a face toner. I like to use either witch hazel as a toner or hemp seed oil if I'm using it as a face oil. Hemp seed oil is 0 on the comedogenic scale, which means it doesn't clog your pores. So I love to use either almond oil or hemp seed oil for anything that I use on my face. So lots of these flowers here, well, half of them will be dried and half of them will be used fresh for my workshops and my retreats at the end of the month. So when I'm not foraging, I'm teaching foraging. I run lots of different types of retreats and getaways based around nature connection and learning how to ID plants and forage for plants, using more wild food and just being a little bit more self-sustainable in regards to your food. And I'm going to be running them at a new location in July. It's going to be in West Sussex, and I'm going to be running them between the 21st and the 26th of July this year. I'm going to be running 2, and the first one is called Forage and Feast, and it's going to be a big celebration of wild food, teaching people how to forage for their own wild food. As well as that, we're going to be doing lots of different wild cooking workshops. I've got a chef who is amazing, and I can't wait to see what she cooks up with all of the things I've been foraging over the past year. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. These ones will be used for the retreat after that called Wellness and Wildcraft, and that is more about plant medicine and learning how to grow and harvest your own flowers and plants to make lots of soothing and healing recipes. So I'm really, really looking forward to both of those. And it is countdown now, so I've got 2 weeks to go, lots to do, lots of things to harvest and dry and prepare and make. I also grow all of the veg for the meals as well, so that is a bit of a task in itself to feed that many people. So this summer is a bit more of an intimate retreat than usual. The ones that I run in October, I take between 25 and 30, and I've got 4 retreats fully booked for autumn. But this summer I've only got maybe about 10 people on each, so it's going to be a bit more of an intimate affair, and I'm really looking forward to properly getting to know everybody there. So that's a lovely little bunch of St Johns Wort I got there. That should keep you going for a little bit. And now I'm going to go harvest some raspberries. I've got quite a few feral patches of raspberries in here, lots of different varieties. I have no idea which. The birds have probably got to a lot of them because these ones aren't netted, but I can see a few little red gems dotted about when they're a bit too far gone for storage. I just see them. You've got to look from underneath because the berries love to hang out underneath the leaves to hide from birds. Got a little almond bug. These are delicious. And then I've got some more raspberries just in this little patch here. That one is perfectly ripe. It won't store though, so. So under here, keeping safe, are my blackcurrants, and I put netting over them because the pigeons absolutely stripped my red currants just at the back there, so I didn't get any red currants or white currants this year. So as soon as I noticed that they had taken them, I put this little bit of netting over my blackcurrants because I want a few berries for myself. I don't mind sharing some, but there comes a time when you need to say no. Self-care and all that. So there's quite a few nice little blackberries in here, blackcurrants, sorry, look. So I've just had a proper good look at all these berries. Oh, that one looks quite ripe. I'll eat him. So I think I'm going to leave these for another week or so because they're still a little bit tart. I could do with another week ripening. I'll probably harvest these just before my retreats so we can have them fresh on breakfast and stuff. So I got a lovely little tub of raspberries. Not loads because I can imagine that the squirrels and pigeons had a field day while I was gone. But I'm just going to do a last little harvest before I go home. And that's this beautiful, beautiful feverfew. Look at it. Feverfew is an edible plant. You can eat the leaves and they've got a bit of a zesty flavour. But most commonly it's used as a medicine. And usually for migraines, it's really, really good for headaches. But it's also great as an anti-inflammatory. So I love to use feverfew in salves and balms just to treat sores and things like that. So from skateboarding, treats tired legs and bruises, and it's also quite good for insect stings as well. So I'm going to be harvesting a little bit of feverfew for the salve making workshops at the retreat in a couple of weeks' time. Right, so Chris has rudely interrupted me. It's really hard to get any filming done with Chris here, so I'm going to wrap up, but I think I'm going to just go show you the Winecups because we've had quite a bit of rain over the past, I don't know, week or so, and they've proper shut up. There's such a big flush and I've never seen so many Winecups here. I only planted them last year and I've had the odd one or two come up throughout the seasons, but look at this little flush here. So they are all down here, and then we've got a bunch of older ones over here. Some really old bleached out ones over here. Wow, that's massive. Oh my god. And then I think there's more hiding in the underneath the little trunks here. I can see a little broken stem that I think Chris has pulled off. So there's quite a good amount of Winecups here. This is a good one. Look at this. So they've got these quite dark grey gills and a little skirt underneath, kind of like a burgundy cap that can change to a brown once it gets a little bit older. But yeah, they're really lovely edible mushroom that aren't native to the UK, but you can buy a spawn that you plant in your wood chip, and they love wood chip. They are saprobic mushrooms. Whoa, look at that one. So they help to break down organic matter in your soil, so they're really, really great for using in gardens. Oh, I might leave this one. I might leave these ones as well to rot down. Actually, do I leave this one? I think I'm going to leave all of these ones. Look at all this mycelium. When I move the wood chip, you can see all of the mycelium from the Winecup. King Stropharia, or garden giant, these are also called. So that is not a bad little harvest to go home on. Pretty stoked with that. Lovely. Don't hit me. Right, well I'm pretty... Chris, stop it. Right, well I'm pretty stoked on this harvest this evening. I got quite a few Winecups and some Johns Wort, some feverfew, a massive basket of broad beans, one stray little garlic head and a little tiny tub of raspberries.